Hello everyone, welcome to the video. I'm Expertin, and in this video, we're going to be reviewing this week's weekly reset items. Now in particular, this will be the Eververse Bright Dust items, 801's shaders, and armor this week, as well as the return of the iconic 0 Hour mission. Now firstly, starting off, go ahead and pick up your 700 free weekly Bright Dust. Now for the featured items on the front page of Eververse, we first have the Tide Smoke shader, after that shader we have another shader, and it's the Oiled Gunmetal shader. Then a transmat effect called the Stasis Entrance. And after that transmat effect, we have an ornament for the beloved sniper rifle called Unloved to be Cherished. And the last item for the featured items this week on the Eververse front page, we have an exotic emote called Unchained. Okay everyone, so now let's move on to the other Bright Dust items in the Eververse store this week. So on the last page of the Eververse Bright Dust store, we firstly have an emote called Take Out the Trash. And after that, we have 3 Universal Armor ornaments. For this week, it's going to be the class item, and for my hunters, we have the Vanguard Dare Cloak. The next Universal Armor ornament this week is for Titans, and it's the Star-Crossed Mark. And lastly, the Bond of Reciprocity Universal Ornament for the Warlocks. Moving on from the Universal Ornaments, we then have an exotic ghost shell called the Multi-Band Shell. An exotic ship called the Refashioned Shapes ship. An exotic vehicle called the Wanderer's Wagon. An exotic ornament for the exotic Ace of Spades hand cannon called the Vanguard Dare. And lastly on this row, we have a ghost projection called All Together Now. Now, after that row, we then have the flare row, and firstly in the flare row, we have a transmat effect called Resurrected Shadow. Then the Blind Clutch transmat effect. And the last transmat effect is the Guiding Light transmat effect. Now we then have shaders, and the first shader we have is the Irident Chariot. The Royal Treatment shader. The Golden Age Wine shader. And last but not least, the Deep Sea Jaunt shader. Okay guys, let's see what 801 has to offer this week, as well as the returning 0 hour mission. Okay guys, so at 801 over in the tower, the first thing that you will notice is that there's actually a new exotic quest mission called the Asset Protection. Now this quest is actually for the returning Outbreak Perfected exotic pulse rifle, as well as the iconic 0 hour timed mission. Now just like the Whisper mission, which as of the time of me recording this video, which was just released not too long ago, this mission is very similar to the Whisper mission in that it is also timed, it has a regular and a legend mode, and you can get different variants of the exotic weapon for the mission. Now to gain access to the returning 0 hour exotic mission, it's pretty simple. Simply head over to the tower, pay 801 a visit, and from there you can then pick up the Asset Protection quest. And once you pick up the quest will then update. And from there, all you need to do is simply go over to your Destinations tab and go to the Into the Light destination. And if you look under the Pantheon Raid Rotator, you will see the exotic mission 0 hour, and you can then enter the activity. Okay, with the returning exotic 0 hour mission quest out of the way, we can now examine 801's armor inventory stats as well as her shaders for this week. Now we're first going to look at the armor. So this week for the armor we have the Tangled Web set, and for hunters on the gauntlets we have 12 mobility, 10 resilience, 2 recovery, 16 discipline, 7 intellect, and 2 strength. This is decent for any grenade based builds on hunters this week, so if you like throwing grenades on hunters, pick this up. However, it is only 49, so also keep that in mind. Now after that we have the chest, and we have 24 mobility, 2 resilience, 2 recovery, 2 discipline, 6 intellect, and then lastly 19 strength. This is a very spiky roll, great stats overall. However, it only has a total of 55, so this is good for melee based builds on your hunter, but not a high overall total. Then after that we have the helmet, and it has 6 mobility, 9 resilience, 14 recovery, 6 discipline, 6 intellect, and lastly 11 strength. This is a bad roll, you don't need this. And then the final piece of armor for hunters this week from 801, we have 12 mobility, 12 resilience, 2 recovery, 7 discipline, 2 intellect, and 16 strength. So just like I said with the chest, this is good for melee based builds, but it only has 51 total, so you can pick this up if you need it. This week for 801's Titan armor, on the gauntlets we have 19 mobility, 6 resilience, 2 recovery, 12 discipline, 2 intellect, and then 12 strength. Now this isn't a great roll for Titans this week. However, if this was for hunters, this wouldn't be a half bad roll, as it does have a good spike in mobility. But because this is for Titans, I can't really recommend this piece of armor, as it has too much mobility and not enough of what you want on Titans, which would be resilience and strength. Although it does have some strength, it's just not enough, and the total stat is only 53 as well, so not a great roll. We then have the chest piece, and it has 2 mobility, 10 resilience, 10 recovery, a whopping 24 discipline, which is pretty high, 2 intellect, and 2 strength. So this is a good grenadier piece of armor for Titans this week. After that, we then have the helmet for Titans this week, and it has 2 mobility, 22 resilience, pretty nice, 2 recovery, 13 discipline, which isn't too shabby, 6 intellect, and 6 strength. And just like I said with the chest, this is good for grenade builds on Titan. And then lastly for Titans, we have 2 mobility, 10 resilience, 10 recovery, 14 discipline, 6 intellect, and 6 strength on the boots. This is a pretty bad roll for Titans, and you don't need this. And for the last set of armor that Ada provides this week will be for Warlocks. And for the Warlock Gauntlets, we have 2 mobility, 10 resilience, 12 recovery, 14 discipline, 6 intellect, and 8 strength. This is a pretty mediocre roll, and it only has a total of 52. After that, we have the robes for Warlock, and on the robes we have 11 mobility, 2 resilience, 13 recovery, 16 discipline, not too bad, 2 intellect, and 12 strength. Now, however, even though Warlocks do actually need recovery and discipline, there's not that much here, and there's also a bump in mobility which you do not want on Warlocks, so you don't really want this roll, and the total on it is only 56 as well. And then we have the helmet for Warlocks, and on the helmet we have 2 mobility, 10 resilience, 10 recovery, 9 discipline, 10 intellect, and 6 strength. This is a pretty weird, balanced roll here. It has basically the same stats in terms of resilience, recovery, discipline, and intellect, and it's just not enough for me to recommend you picking this up. And then lastly for Warlocks, on the boots we have 22 mobility, which is pretty high, 2 resilience, 2 recovery, 10 discipline, 7 intellect, and lastly 9 strength. Now, just like with the Titans, Warlocks don't really need mobility much. So this roll isn't great for Warlocks, and it also only has 52 total, so I wouldn't pick this up this week. And now lastly, we're going to look at 801's shaders this week. And the first shader we have is the Satao Tribe Legendary Shader. The next shader available from 801 is the Flowers of Io shader, and this is uncommon rarity. And the final shader this week that Ada has is the new Monarchy Diamond shader, and this is rare rarity. Alright Guardians, that's all for today's weekly reset video. As usual, please drop a like on this video to help support my channel and help it grow, as well as don't forget to share it to your friends and subscribing to my channel if you like my content or if you just want to see any more content in the future. And for now, you guys, that's it for today. So once again, thank you for watching and see you guys later.